Old money versus new money. How billionaires like the Rothschilds live differently. When you think of extreme wealth, images of flashy sports cars, massive yachts, and designer everything probably come to mind. But here's a truth that might surprise you. The wealthiest families in the world, the ones whose fortunes have survived for centuries, would never be caught dead flaunting their money that way. In fact, if you passed a Rothschild on the street, you probably would not even know it. Welcome to the fascinating world of old money versus new money, where the rules of wealth are completely different, and where how you spend your fortune says everything about where you came from. Today, we are going to pull back the curtain on two completely different approaches to being ultra-wealthy. We will explore how families like the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, and the European aristocracy have preserved their fortunes for generations, while living in ways that would shock most people. And we will compare that to the flashy, headline-grabbing lifestyle of new money billionaires like Elon Musk, Mark Zuckerberg, and the crypto kings who seem to have appeared overnight. By the end of this video, you will understand why old money looks down on new money, why new money does not care what old money thinks, and which approach actually leads to lasting wealth. So sit back and get ready to have your understanding of billionaires completely transformed. Let us start with a fundamental question. What exactly separates old money from new money? The answer is not just about how long the wealth has existed. It is about an entirely different philosophy of life, spending, and social status. Old money refers to wealth that has been passed down through multiple generations, typically at least 3 or more. These are families whose fortunes were established so long ago that no living member actually earned the initial wealth. The Rothschilds, whose banking empire began in the 1760s, are perhaps the most famous example. The Vanderbilts, the Astors, the DuPonts, and countless European noble families also fall into this category. New money, on the other hand, refers to individuals who created their wealth within their own lifetime, or perhaps their parents' lifetime. Think of Jeff Bezos, who built Amazon from his garage, or the Kardashians, who turned reality television into a billion-dollar empire. These people know exactly what it feels like to not be wealthy, because they lived it. This difference in origin creates dramatically different approaches to wealth. And nowhere is this more visible than in how these two groups spend their money. Let us talk about cars first, because this is where the contrast becomes almost comical. A new money billionaire like Floyd Mayweather has a car collection worth over $50 million. We are talking Bugattis, Lamborghinis, Ferraris, and Rolls-Royces in every color imaginable. He posts these cars on social media constantly. He wants you to know he has them. Now consider a Rothschild. Members of this family, worth an estimated $400 billion collectively, are frequently spotted driving modest vehicles. Not economy cars exactly, but understated luxury vehicles that blend in rather than stand out. A navy blue Range Rover. A classic but not flashy Mercedes. Nothing that screams, "Look at me." This is not because the Rothschilds cannot afford supercars. It is because in old money circles, driving a Lamborghini would be considered embarrassingly tacky. It would signal that you need to prove your wealth, which to old money families suggests you are not actually secure in your status. This philosophy extends to every aspect of life. Old money homes are grand, but often inherited. They are filled with antiques that have been in the family for centuries, not purchased from a catalog. The Rothschilds own estates across Europe that have been family properties for over 200 years. These homes are maintained meticulously, but rarely renovated to be flashy or modern. There is a reason for this. Old money believes that true wealth whispers while new money shouts. Compare this to the homes of new money billionaires. When tech billionaires buy real estate, they often tear down whatever exists and build something entirely new and entirely spectacular. Mark Zuckerberg bought multiple properties around his Palo Alto home and constructed what has been described as a modern compound with every imaginable amenity. New money homes often feature bowling alleys, indoor basketball courts, shark tanks, and rooms dedicated entirely to sneaker collections. Old money would find this kind of spending vulgar. But here's the thing. New money does not care what old money thinks. Let us dig deeper into the social rules that govern these two worlds, because this is where things get really interesting. Old money families have unwritten codes of conduct that are passed down through generations. These rules cover everything from how to dress, to how to speak, to how to spend. Clothing is a perfect example. Old money dresses expensively but never flashily. A Rothschild might wear a suit that costs $15,000, but it will be navy or charcoal, impeccably tailored, and completely devoid of visible logos or trendy designs. Old money believes that quality speaks for itself, and that anyone who needs to display a designer label is revealing their insecurity. New money takes the opposite approach. Visible luxury brands are a form of communication. When a new money billionaire wears a Gucci belt with the prominent double G logo or carries a Louis Vuitton bag covered in the iconic monogram, they are sending a message. They are saying, "I made it. I can afford this. Look at what I have achieved." Neither approach is objectively right or wrong. They simply reflect different relationships with wealth. Old money has nothing to prove. Their status is established and has been for centuries. New money is still announcing itself to the world, still reveling in the novelty of extreme wealth. This difference in psychology affects everything, including how these groups raise their children. Old money families often raise their children in what might seem like surprisingly modest circumstances. Rothschild children attend elite boarding schools where discipline and academic excellence are emphasized. They are taught that the family fortune is not their accomplishment and that they must prove themselves worthy of it. Inheritance is often structured so that descendants must demonstrate responsibility before gaining access to significant wealth. New money billionaires often take a different approach. Without generations of established wealth to draw from, there is less tradition around raising wealthy children. Some new money parents go overboard spoiling their kids, while others, like Warren Buffett, pledge to give away most of their fortune rather than create dynasty wealth. This brings us to one of the most fascinating differences between old and new money: their attitudes toward philanthropy and public image. Old money families typically give away enormous amounts of wealth, but they do so quietly. The Rothschilds have funded hospitals, universities, research institutions, and countless charitable causes across Europe. But you rarely see a Rothschild at a celebrity-studded charity gala or doing press interviews about their giving. Their philanthropy is extensive, but private. New money billionaires have revolutionized philanthropy by making it public, and sometimes even competitive. When Elon Musk offered to donate $6 billion to end world hunger if someone could prove how the money would be spent, he did so on Twitter for the world to see. The Gates Foundation operates with full transparency and significant media attention. New money billionaires often attach their names prominently to their charitable endeavors. Again, neither approach is necessarily better. Old money might argue that true generosity does not seek recognition. New money might counter that public philanthropy inspires others and creates accountability. Both are valid perspectives. Now let us talk about how these two groups make their money grow, because this reveals perhaps the most significant difference of all. Old money families like the Rothschilds have survived for centuries by being extremely conservative with their core wealth. They invest in assets that preserve value across generations: real estate, art, precious metals, and stable blue-chip companies. The Rothschild family still owns vast wine estates, banking interests, and property portfolios that were established 100 years ago or more. Risk is avoided at almost all costs. The goal is not to make spectacular returns, but to preserve and slowly grow the family fortune for future generations. Old money thinks in terms of centuries, not quarterly earnings reports. New money takes more risks because that is how the wealth was created in the first place. Tech billionaires reinvest in technology. Crypto billionaires bet big on blockchain. Real estate moguls leverage heavily to acquire more properties. The philosophy is that aggressive investing is what created the fortune, so aggressive investing should continue. This difference in investment philosophy helps explain why so many new money fortunes disappear within a few generations, while old money seems to last forever. The famous saying goes, "Shirt sleeves to shirt sleeves in 3 generations." meaning that wealth is often created, expanded, and then squandered within just 3 generations. Old money families have developed systems to prevent this, including trusts, family offices, and strict governance structures that protect the fortune from any single member's poor decisions. Let us also explore the social dynamics between these two groups, because the tension is real and fascinating. Old money largely does not accept new money into its circles, at least not right away. It does not matter how many billions you have. If you made the money yourself, old money European aristocracy will view you as new money forever. Your children might gain partial acceptance. Your grandchildren might be fully integrated. But you yourself will always be seen as someone who had to work for it. This attitude might seem snobbish, and frankly, it is, but it reveals something interesting about how old money views status. To them, having money is only part of the equation. What matters equally is having the right breeding, the right education, the right manners, and the right history. These things cannot be bought, only inherited. New money responds to this exclusion in various ways. Some, like many American tech billionaires, simply do not care about old money social approval. They are building their own kingdoms with their own rules. Others, particularly those who move in European circles, desperately seek acceptance from old money families, sometimes through marriage, sometimes through trying to adopt old money behaviors and aesthetics. The truth is that in the modern world, the distinctions between old and new money are becoming somewhat blurred. Globalization and democratized information mean that new money families can now learn old money behaviors if they choose. And as generational wealth is created by tech billionaires and passed down to their children and grandchildren, new dynasties are being established that may one day be considered old money themselves. 100 years from now, will the Bezos family be seen the way the Rothschilds are seen today? It is entirely possible. Let us bring this full circle by addressing the question you might be asking yourself. Which is better, old money or new money? The answer is that it depends entirely on what you value. Old money offers stability, tradition, and a kind of quiet confidence that comes from centuries of established status. It represents patience, long-term thinking, and the preservation of family legacy across generations. New money represents achievement, meritocracy, and the excitement of building something from nothing. It is dynamic and innovative, even if sometimes flashy and attention-seeking. Both have their merits. The old money Rothschilds have maintained their fortune and influence for over 250 years. That is an extraordinary achievement of wealth preservation and family governance. But the new money tech billionaires have changed the world through innovation in ways that old money rarely does. They have created products and services that affect billions of lives. Perhaps the wisest approach is to take lessons from both. Build wealth through innovation and risk-taking like new money, but preserve and grow it through discipline and long-term thinking like old money. Be willing to invest aggressively when young and opportunities abound, but become more conservative as wealth accumulates and future generations depend on it. And perhaps most importantly, remember that neither old money nor new money guarantees happiness or fulfillment. Studies consistently show that beyond a certain level of financial security, additional wealth does not increase life satisfaction. The Rothschilds may have more refined tastes and older paintings on their walls, but that does not mean they are happier than someone who just made their first million. As you watch extravagant displays of new money and hear whispers of old money fortunes, remember that wealth is ultimately a tool. How you use that tool matters far more than where it came from or how you display it. The Rothschilds understand something that many new money billionaires are still learning. True wealth is not about having the most expensive things or getting the most attention. True wealth is about having choices, having security, and having the ability to create the life you want for yourself and your family. Whether that life includes Lamborghinis and Instagram posts, or quiet estates and private philanthropy is entirely up to you. Thank you for watching today's exploration of old money versus new money. If this video made you think differently about wealth and success, make sure to like and subscribe for more content that goes beyond the surface of money and power. Until next time, remember that understanding how the wealthy really live is the first step toward building lasting wealth of your own.